I hope you guys enjoyed our morning show. We are back for more, and we hope you are hungry, literally, because we're going to talk about some recipes that you might have grown up with and you might still eat today. So let's roll that intro. Hey, everybody. We are back. So today we are doing some scrumptious, yummy, and what other words we can describe food as we're going to dive into the time machine and take a trip back to the 80s to talk about just a few, it's hard to pick, but just a few of some of the most iconic and delicious recipes while giving some reminiscing and personal opinion while we do so. So, shall I start with number one?
Let's go for it. What's number one?
So number one, and you'll appreciate this, as would anybody who goes to IKEA will, it's the Swedish meatball. Now, I didn't realize it was actually specifically just an 80s food, but this is one of those things that almost everybody in the world probably has seen of, probably has had some. And again, if you like the store, you probably had to stop at the food court and get some. So I remember, I think it was in the crock pot. That was one of your go-tos because it was pretty quick and easy. It was basically just the meatball and the sauce, right? Was it?
Right. Yeah. Mine weren't Swedish, though. Mine were different. Mine are sweet and sour. Got an S word in there. Sweet and sour. But close.
Okay. I mean, to me, you know.
Stand by it. Absolutely. When all else fails, let's make some meatballs, right?
So was that something familial, or did you just decide, like, this is super easy to make, let's just always make meatballs because they're delicious?
Well, I guess it could be familial because it's something that I made for Dad when we first started dating. So
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Back in, 82 or 83 or whatever, when we got married. And that was something that I made for him that he really, really liked. So it became part of our family tradition. And it was during the 80s. So I guess, yes.
All right. No, that's fair. And, and I know, okay, so sweet and sour Swedish are different, but I'm going to say generally, I think meatballs were a big popular thing.
Right.
Probably because it was one of the few ones because ground beef was cheaper. And I know in the 80s, one of the big things was, spending wisely. So most likely people ate a lot of meatballs because you can probably pick up a good pack of, ground beef for
a little
money, right?
Yeah, right.
Which brings us to the second one, if you don't mind me popping in.
No, go for it.
Sloppy Joes. Now, I will tell you, I don't know why this thing is good because today, looking at it, I'm not even going to use the words that come to mind. But really, again, and I think probably because it's a simple, easy dish to make, because all it is I think tomato sauce, some seasoning, and
you can buy it in a jar, in a can.
Yes, you can. There's the I forgot the company, but there's one that makes Sloppy Joe mix. I know.
Right.
So again, I know we ate these two growing up, and I'm sure as a kid I loved it. Is it the same type of thing?
It's comfort food. It's really
comfort. Okay.
It's something you can make easy. Everyone likes it. You sit around the table as a family and you eat this slop because it looks like slop, I think.
That's what I'm saying, because today I don't think I'd want to touch that with anything. But, Krista pointed out, they are good, and I'm sure they still are good. Yeah. I just, looking at the images, I don't know about you, but it doesn't bring to mind edible food.
It's
no offense to the people who made it, but and I did actually come because I was thinking about it. Where did the Joe come from? And I want to ask you what you think. My guess is they used that name over anything because the average Joe, who probably wasn't making a lot of money, needed something that was nutritious or filling, and that's what it was. That's what I think. Because honestly, I don't know where the name came from, but that was kind of what my brain went to. What do you think?
Yeah, no, that actually makes sense. I don't know where the sloppy part comes in, except that it actually is sloppy. You can't really pick it up without it, we used to eat it with a knife and fork, really, because it was really a mess. It was gross, but tasty.
It is, right? All right. Okay. Next one that I had to pick because I actually still eat it today and a lot. And I'm bringing up this for a reason: the chicken fried steak, which until recently, I didn't actually have an appetite for it, but I've tried it a few times. It is actually delicious. It's not good for you, but it is delicious. Basically, what it is deep fried steak. So it looks like a piece of breaded chicken, but it's not. It's actually meat, usually served with stuff like mashed potatoes and veggies. So think of it as a steak dish, just deep fried. Again, not healthy, but delicious.
Right.
But I'm wondering because, and I think we've brought this up before on other shows too, things that were old are now back again.
Right.
How, and maybe because it's steak, and I know steak is a very popular dish no matter what part of the world
Right.
or country. What do you think something like this is able to hold on to? And again, the restaurants that I get it from are usually delis or stuff like
Mhm.
that. So it's usually a restaurant that has a mix of food. But what is it about this you think that still rings true decades after it was,
I,
popular?
and I think you touched on it. I think that we're seeing people now revisit some of these foods now because the economy isn't great. And so when you can spend less money, like for instance, chicken fried steak, I believe is a lesser cut of beef, meaning they're not using filet. They're
Right.
using and they pound it, I believe, to give it more, tenderize it. So it's less expensive. And I think that in this day and age, we're seeing a revert back to things that are less expensive because, I mean, we've all
Right.
been to the grocery market in the last, several months. Everything is so much more expensive. So if you can make a meal that is comfy and it brings you back to a really good time and it tastes good and it doesn't cost that much, I think that's what we're seeing now.
So we might notice that on this list, many of these things are things you can either make with cheap ingredients, or if you're
Mhm.
ordering from a restaurant, it's probably a cheaper meal because they too are
Right.
able to pick up the materials, as you said, at a much lower cost.
Right.
The next one, though, I had to go over, and this is hilarious, and I love the Fritos bag, but the walking taco. This literally was a bag of Fritos. You pour some chili on top. If you had some broken up chicken, you can do that too. And you literally walked around with a bag of chili in a bag of your Fritos. Now, this leads me to the Frito pie, where it's basically chili with the Fritos on top. But I love and the fact, and it makes me think. Again, I'm not a big taco fan, but it makes me think of the infamous taco truck
Right.
around the city, where you have walking tacos because you basically are buying a taco from the truck and then you're moseying around to the thing. But how funny is that?
Yeah.
That a big company like Frito, and we actually tagged them, so that's why I brought it up, because Frito Lay to this day is one of the
Mhm.
biggest chip snack
Right.
companies.
Right.
What do you think? I mean, this is hilarious. And again, I don't think of it as a dinner you make at home, but I guess it is. I
Snack.
mean,
No, it sounds like a snack to me. It sounds like the kids are home. Let's open up a bag, one of those snack bags of Fritos, which they now make in
exactly.
scoops, right? They make Cheetos, I'm not Cheetos, Fritos as their scoop Fritos just for this. And I think it actually sounds like an interesting snack, right? You don't know what to eat when the kids come home from school. Open up a bag of Cheetos, throw some canned chili into it, sprinkle some cheese in it, and you got it. You got a snack. I think. I don't know.
So Kristen just wrote up there, I like Frito pie, but I never walked around with it in a bag of Fritos. That's strange. Yes, that probably is strange to many people, I'm
Yes,
sure.
very
But
strange. Very
it
strange.
just it makes me think of, because I know like when I was in school and we had the food trucks come and we had the taco trucks.
Right.
That's what I think of when I think of the walking taco, because
Right.
that's what we got. We got to eat that for
Right.
lunch. So this next one here probably is near and dear to you because we made these a lot. But the stuffed pepper, filled
Love
with,
those.
again,
Yeah.
ground beef, right? Of course, you
Right.
can add your tomatoes, you can add your vegetables, your rice. So I'm going to pass it to you. So what? Because we ate it a lot.
Yeah.
What came to mind when you made
Well,
this?
again, I was the cook, the mom that would prepare a humongous pot of spaghetti sauce. And then one meal we would use it for spaghetti and meat sauce, right? But there's always leftover. So what do you do with the leftover? And that really is kind of why I started doing stuffed peppers. It's a great way to stretch ground beef because when you take that meat sauce and you combine cooked rice in it, it stretches it. It makes more filling meal,
Right.
right? And then you stuff it into the peppers. I mean, how good is that? It's delicious. It's like a full meal. You get your vegetable, you get your protein, you get everything in combined to one. Your carbs, delicious is all I can say. I think it's
And
a
I'm
great.
actually surprised because I've never seen this on like a menu anywhere, but it's so popular, 80s through 90s through whatever.
Well,
I'm
frozen.
surprised.
Stouffer's makes, you can go to the market, and in the
Oh,
frozen
okay.
food section, you can literally order peppers, stuffed peppers, but I say don't do that. Make your own, and take advantage of that. I mean, I use the sauce, just it's not a comfort food, but also use the sauce for lasagna. Make it once,
Ah, okay,
use it
okay.
for lots of different things. So
All right, so I'm noticing there's a trend. A lot of this stuff can overlap, and
yeah,
probably why a lot of these foods. Now, this next one, I think we have a show and tell item from you.
we
And
do.
again, you actually have probably the most iconic one, because who does not remember Marie
Oh
Callender's? I was going to say they're not around, but I think they are, just at a lesser capacity.
yeah, they're still around.
Not as many restaurants are around, but I know you can still buy it. But the classic chicken pot pie, basically
Yeah.
stuffed with whatever. The classic one was obviously the chicken and vegetables. Today you can get it with beef pot pie,
Turkey,
turkey.
all sorts of stuff.
So
But this
this
is
one,
delicious. This is delicious.
that one is, it's a little messy, but it is delicious. And I think, because I remember when I used to go to the restaurant and get it there, they had the bigger ones on their
Right.
plate. But they managed to make what would call the mom made chicken pot pie. Like, they were known for their chicken pot pie. And what's funny to me, because I was reading through the article that we have, and they're saying it's big in the 80s, but would you think that this kind of has been just throughout the decades? Because I feel like every decade has had a filled crust.
Right. Right. I think so too. And I think, and you can, and even to this day, I think you can go to a fancy restaurant and they'll have their version of as you
Ah,
just put
okay.
it, a stuffed something, but obviously it'll be with a different kind of sauce, and they make it more elegant because it's a restaurant. But like as you said, Marie Callender's carried it. So does there's some other places that also carry it. Daily Grill also has it.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I've heard of that place. And
Yeah.
obviously, he's very excited about what we're talking about.
Yes.
All right, so I got a couple more that I wanted to bring up. This one makes me think of the Brady Bunch, and you'll understand why in a minute. But breaded pork chops. Of course, we know the infamous pork chops and applesauce line from the show. But pork chops were a big thing. Now, I remember you did lamb chops and whatever. I don't know if it's the meat cut, whatever, but I can tell you, pork chops sound not appetizing at all to me. It's a pork thing. I'll have a sausage, I'll have some bacon, but pork in general never was my thing. Did we have a lot of it growing up?
We didn't eat
That's
pork.
probably okay.
That's why.
So,
That's why. Not for any other. I mean, we had bacon,
okay.
and that's pork. And sausage. But I never made pork chops, or what do they call it? A pork butt, or a shredded pork. I never did any of that, and that's probably why you don't have a taste for it, because we never ate it ever.
There you go. So Krista said pork chops are delicious. And again, it's because I've eaten a lot of foods with a pork product on it, so it's not the pork. I think it's just and maybe it's watching too much Food Network and being like, that just looks weird. But pork in general, over, like, let's say beef or chicken, it's kind of the third on my list. You know what I mean? Like,
I think I've heard it called the other white meat.
yeah,
That's what they refer
that's
to.
what they used to.
It's
Yeah.
white. It's white, and I guess for me, the color of it, it's not chicken, even though it looks like chicken. And so it's not appetizing to me, but I will take Krista's word for it. And Krista, you'll have to make us dinner one of these days and make pork chops so we can try them out.
There you go. Well, you will convert us, right? So the last one I wanted to bring up before we pop off is something that everybody eats. And again, you brought up Stouffer's, and they make this well. The flatbread pizza, or I'm sorry, the French bread pizza, which is the thicker one. And literally what it was, and I'm going to bring up a story you'll probably remember, but literally it's like a half a loaf of French bread. You put your cheese and sauce, if you want to pop on some pepperoni, and you bake it in the oven. Stouffer's infamously is known for their personal size, kind of like what Pizza Hut used to do. But I remember for New Year's, when you guys were eating your lobster, your stuff, whatever, we were having our pizza bagel things, and that's what the French bread pizza was. You take your bread, you put the sauce, whatever, you pop it in the oven, and it was personal pan pizzas.
Delicious.
I love the idea, and it's probably the one thing off the list, other than maybe the chicken pot pie, that is just synonymous with childhood for me, or for others who grew up in the 80s and the 90s, because it's so easy. And even if you weren't home, I could actually do it, because all it was literally taking out a piece of bread, spreading the stuff, and I think it was like, I don't know, 10 minutes in the oven, took no time,
yeah,
and you're done. So other than the New Year's, did I eat a lot of it? Is that why I love it? Or was it kind of something you bought for us? What was the...
Well, it sounds like you're like revealing all of my mom
So you
things.
got the good food. I got the not so good food.
Well,
No.
and I think we ate the French bed pizzas as well. We also did them on pita, and we did them on naan bread, and we did them, believe it or not,
Ah,
on matzah. We would make matzah pizza when it was Passover because you're not supposed to eat bread. So we'd take matzah,
okay,
put
yeah.
the pizza sauce on, and put a little mozzarella cheese. What is? Let's see, what did Chris?
Oh, there you go. Okay, so people still make pizza that way.
There you go. There you go. So it brings back memories. Truly, the food brings back memories, and I guess I didn't remember all the stuff that I used to serve you all the time. So thank you for reminding me.
I can probably go on, but that's for another show. But no, I mean, one reason why I thought about doing this, other than just loving being foodies, is I kind of thought this would be a fun, reminiscing show
Yeah,
and give people watching kind of like an in depth look of what we do. But you do make a point, though. The stuff to me that doesn't sound good, I didn't eat really, or I ate very little of it. The stuff that sounds delicious to me is kind of like 90% of what was in our household
exactly.
most of the year. So I think
Exactly.
food, and you might agree, well, it affects what you do, who you
Right.
are, because of what you're eating. It doesn't have to be a cultural thing. It's just whatever is in your pantry.
Right. And you're saying it elicits memories. You literally were saying how you remembered, eating this. And it does. Food has a tendency to elicit memories. When did we eat that? Like, right? How old were we when we were eating that? Like maybe we
Oh, trust me, there are times where we're eating dinner here, and I'm just like, why does this make me think of like when I was 15? I'm like, oh, I did that. So it's really funny how and even a snack or whatever, and you're just sitting there and you go, like I just got myself oatmeal and I had oatmeal this morning and I'm like, I remember eating oatmeal all the time. And now
right.
it's like, now I remember why, because it's
Yeah,
actually pretty good.
it's really
So yeah,
tasty.
it's totally something fun. So I think we will do more, old school 80s, 90s, 70s stuff, because I think the fun part about it is not only reteaching people about this stuff, but also eliciting, as you said, the memories.
Exactly. And I'm curious what our viewers are thinking, whether you're here live or in replay. What is your favorite food, your comfort food from the 80s? Let us know. Did we touch upon those that you like, or did we miss something? And Rob, but wait, there's more. We want to
I
show
was just
some.
going to say, we have a few good things for you
We have
guys.
a
So
really cool thing. So we went way back into the time machine and on Amazon and found some really cool vintage candy boxes from the 80s.
And I will tell you, I bought, I think, one like this before. And other than maybe a couple things that I had not heard of, this is like your go to 80 snacks. I mean, Skittles, Bubble Yum, Trolley. Like,
Good stuff. Really good stuff. So if you're wondering how you can go check it out, take your phone out. I'll hold this up here for just a second. Take your camera and just point it towards the screen. It will give you a link and you can go check it out. Now, another favorite are the ring
yeah.
pops. Oh my gosh, I remember these. We used to we didn't, you did. We'll put them on our finger and people would walk around sucking their finger, right?
It looked really weird and honestly not normal, but oh my God. They're not, and again, not good for you at all, but everybody, and you look like you were in, some sort of rich,
Right.
kingdom with
Bubbles
the
on your
colors.
finger. What's
Again, I don't remember these too much, but I remember eating a few and
yeah,
my dentist going, why are you eating ring pops? Stop eating ring pops. Have an apple instead. Like, I'm like,
right.
but they're good.
But this would be fun over like Halloween, and instead of doing like maybe the little candy bars, the little do a ring pop. How cool is that?
So
Now
Krista, apparently she remembers the ring pops as well. So
let me put that up. Hold on, let's put this up here. Haha. Yes. Haha. Absolutely.
well,
And you'll
maybe we'll buy
know
a pack from Amazon.
there's links popping up in the screen. If you can click on that as well and check it out. Now the last one, and this is one when we picked it out, you said, "Oh, I remember that," and that was the fruit stripe zebra gummy candy. But I remember this fruit stripe gum, not
The gum. That's
right?
And if you remember, I think the gum had the stripes. Obviously, that was the rainbow zebra. That was the point of the whole thing. But apparently, just like every candy does, they had to get a gummy. So this is actually kind of cool. I might actually have to grab a bag because I don't know if I've ever eaten them, but I do like a good gummy.
So click the link. Go get it.
Exactly. I'll click the link and go get one right now.
Wait a second. We have another comment. So you don't remember that one. Okay. So totally, you have to go out and get some zebra gummy things because you know.
Maybe we'll get the gum and then be like, oh, the gum, the gummies. There you go. I don't know.
Exactly. Hey, Krista, do us a favor right now. Just click on that link that you see in the chat. Just go ahead and click on the fruit striped zebra and see what happens. I just want to see if something happens on our screen because, you know, it's just you and us right now. Anyways, guys, we love doing shows like this. Is there a decade you want to hear about that the food, like, you know, what was the popular food when you were growing up? I think we could probably go back to when I was, you know, the dinosaurs, but maybe in, you know, maybe the 70s or the 60s, you know, psychedelic stuff might be kind of fun. Any last thoughts on this, Rob? This is so much fun. I love this.
I had a lot of fun. You know, I was, like we were talking about, I was trying to think of something. I didn't have anything in my pantry that was specifically 80s, so maybe next time I'll make sure to grocery shop and do that. But no, I thought it was a great little topic to do. Again, like you said, whatever decade you want, and maybe we'll do the toys. Maybe we'll do the fads. Maybe we'll come wearing weird, headbands and brightly colored
or exercise clothing. Remember? Oh, you were young, but you know, with the leg.
I've probably seen pictures.
Jane Fonda doing her, you know, her
yeah, that.
You know, it'd be fun. Get moving. All right, guys, we love you. We're so thrilled you joined us. Let us know what you thought in the comments, and we'll do some other shows like that. In the meantime, go out, give somebody an awesome day. We'll see you next time on Altered Universe Live. Goodbye, everyone.